Hello, Steve White, Steve RC9. Well, I have to mention the death of George Negus. George Negus was a reporter in Australia, newsman. I think he started off in the news. He mostly did interviews, and I grew up watching him, and he was someone that we had respect for, someone who seemed to have integrity. He interviewed people like Margaret Thatcher. He was on 60 Minutes for a while. I think he was one of the main reporters there. This is from my very early childhood that I remember him. And he recently passed, and it made me sad for the current state of media. There are very few men like that now. Now it's all about money, clicks, attention, and people will do or say anything to get, big views and big ratings. Once upon a time, the news was separate from entertainment, and they didn't make any money out of it. But then along came, I think Fox did it, and Fox News. I think they made news into entertainment, and artistically they've done a great job. They entertain half of America and fool them into thinking that that's the real world and real life. But they've absolutely destroyed the media itself, because now we have the legitimate media now is trying to counter that, and then they do their own, and you have extreme right and extreme left both creating theatre for their bases, and it's really hard to find actual objective news that just states the facts and doesn't have an opinion behind it. And most shows will announce that they have an opinion that's opinion based, that's what it is. They won't try and pretend it's news, but other people do try and pretend it's news, and you get these ridiculous things like that. What's the latest thing? My God, people are actually saying, and I saw people talking about this on a podcast, seriously talking about this on a sci-fi geek podcast, that they believe that Joe Biden and the American government created, with technology, the two hurricanes in Florida to destroy that state because it's a red state. People actually believe this. They're actually putting this story out as real, that Joe Biden is trying to destroy Florida because I was watching, I'm like, they're joking, right? They're not actually suggesting that America can actually create and control hurricanes, because they had two hurricanes in short succession, and that's happened before, it's just the hurricane season, and Florida, it happens to Florida reasonably often from what I hear, from just what I've seen over the years of being a bit more aware of American news in the last 6 or 7 years. Florida does get hit with this sort of weather, but people are legitimately buying into, they're buying into conspiracy theories and reporting it as news, and people are believing it. People cannot distinguish between news and entertainment anymore, and now we have a reality TV. America had a reality TV president who now is trying to become president again. We have real politicians trying to compete with these fictional narratives that people are making that are far more entertaining and scary than reality. And people just can't tell anymore. There are people who actually, in America, think that Donald Trump sent them a check because he put his name on a check that the government sent out that was their money. And people believe it because that's what they're being told on Fox. And people are being told that, there was a peaceful transition of power in the US when there was actually an attempted insurrection and coup, and people have gone to jail over it. And Trump will lie and say nobody died except for one of his people who was a victim, when 5 people died during the insurrection and 145 or so police were assaulted. But Fox News says, different, and people believe that because they're all in their little bubbles. And when I saw that George Negus had died, I just thought, oh wow, I think legitimate media has gone with him. So I just went on a whole rant about all that, but that's what I thought when he died. I thought, that's so sad. He was one of the last legitimate, real newsmen. And what are we left with now? These people who just want clicks, want attention, want fame, and they will twist the news any way that they can to get a base. And you're the way everything's divided with the tribalism, you're not even going to get half of the population, but a good chunk. The population seems to be split three ways. You've got a huge amount which is red, a huge amount which is blue, and left, right, extreme, whatever, MAGA, woke, whatever, and then you've got a small section that actually doesn't care about either of those and pays attention to actual news, which I don't know where they find it, but it's hard to find. But this turned into a rant. But R.I.P. George Negus. I think legitimate media died with him. At least in this country, I think it died with Walter Cronkite in the US, and that was a few years ago. So I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the current state of media, and R.I.P. George Negus.